This is the one I started with long time ago and with linseed oil paint, you're supposed to paint it as thin as possible. Following me now. Oh, the other way of painting that I do with bigger things. So this is the one we're gonna make.
Do you apply that same shape to the sides that you've already shaved down?
What makes it thicker this way? Ta-da! Yeah. And there you go.
Excellent. All right, welcome everybody. This will be a demo by Anja Sundberg for her knife sheath challenge, which we have she's been very kind to do this demo for us and to let us kind of glom on to her knife sheath challenge with our Ruach spoon challenge number 34, which will be a knife sheath for the Mora 106 or Mora 120 if you want to whichever version you want to use, or whatever knife you choose to do a sheath for. But yeah, so we're really looking forward to this. Anja's been posting some phenomenal things up on her Instagram, so go give her a follow if you don't already. What's your Instagram handle again? It's Sundberg, Anja?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, give her a follow and check out the sheath, and go follow the hashtag KnifeSheathChallenge, I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it's some great stuff that folks are posting up and some awesome sheaths. Anja's going to be doing for our sheath challenge. It's a relatively basic form of the knife sheath, but she has some really phenomenally beautiful carved knife sheaths. And given everything that's going on currently in Ukraine, I also want to call out that she has a knife sheath that was painted sort of in a traditional Ukrainian pattern that is up for auction right now. If you go follow Russell J. West on Instagram, he's got a lot of phenomenal auctions up there that he's raising money for the Red Cross in Ukraine. So go give it a follow, go bid on some items, and like I said, check out the knife sheaths. So with that, I'm going to take the spotlight off of me, put it on Anja, and let her take it away.
Okay. Oh yeah. I wish you all welcome. And for me, it's late afternoon after a sunny day here, and I'm glad that you asked for me to show the sheets.
Absolutely.
Oh, here's me in a big.
Yep, photo. I've got you spotlighted now so that all the eyes stay focused on you. Don't worry about it. There's only a few million people out there watching and following along.
Well, this sheet thing started with they're going to have something called Täljefest at Sätergläntan, the Swedish craft school, this autumn. And the organizers asked me if I could do a short workshop for 3 hours. And spoons were already taken, and shrink pots also.
Yeah.
And all kinds of nice, easy things. So I thought, maybe knife sheet. And by then I've only done one knife sheet. So, but well, if you're done one, you're an expert if it comes to slide.
Excellent.
That's always so. But then I figured I have to do some more if I'm going to teach them. So I started doing some, and then it got kind of fun. And then I did very well, they are not so good. They are kind of fancy, but can't use them. So if I can switch here like that. So these This is the one I started with a long time ago because I thought that the Mora plastic one didn't fit so well, and that's this one.
Yeah.
Which
It's a classic.
I don't like so much. Yeah, and it falls out of it. Yeah. So this one doesn't click. So I put a little bit of leather in there, so it's friction anyway.
Okay.
And then, yeah. And actually this was the first one. It says sharp.
Wow.
And it says, let me out. Sharp tools.
Fancy.
This is for chip carving knives that I made these. I have several of them, different ones.
Uh-huh. Very cool.
So that's one type. Oh, and the idea is the knife sits here, and then you press down on the blade here, and then the back goes up, and you can catch it.
Ah, brilliant.
Turning it upside down.
Yep.
So I think the first one was this one that clicked.
Nice.
In here, and then I got kind of crazy and made a fish and
So cool.
paper roll. It was supposed to be dollar bills, but I got tired of painting. And then my brother says I only use the knife for grilling hot dogs, so I made a hot dog for him. So that's for him.
That's awesome.
And this is the knife in the knife.
I love that. That's brilliant.
And the carrot one. So that's the Ukrainian one that has the pattern from the Ukrainian folk costumes.
Nice.
Embroidered. And that's some leaf one, and that's also inspired by Ukraine because the sunflower is their national flower.
Oh wow!
They are a
beautiful.
Huge producer of sunflower oil in Ukraine.
Fantastic.
Sunflower.
Absolutely spectacular.
This is the one we're going to make today.
Excellent.
It's not so difficult. You can make it less pointy here if you want to hang it so it doesn't hurt you. Oh, it's not so pointy, but if you want to. Yeah.
Very nice. I like it a lot. And I'm sure our folks usually kind of go off and do their own thing. So they'll take that basic form and they'll probably come up with their own creative versions of it, much as you've done with a variety of your sheaths. But it's nice to have a basic template and a basic form there for those of us that are maybe not quite as creative to do something basic. So
yeah, and I mean, I think it's good with a basic one because this one actually works. The other ones are quite awkward, especially this you can't hang it in a belt or anything. Actually, the carrot you can hang in a belt because it has got a loop there, and this it opens and it has got a magnet there, so it works.
Very cool. That's so neat. So I'm just curious, the one that you're going to do today, can you pick that back up again and show us from the top looking down into it? How is the knife so it's oriented that way? Yeah. Does it matter which way the blade faces?
No, because I made a template. It faces both ways.
Gotcha. Brilliant.
So, yeah. So I can turn it around like that.
Yeah. And you can lengthen it or shorten it depending on whether you're doing the 120 or the 106.
Yeah. So this is the one that I put a little lengthening thing on that I could kind of fold back and make it short again. Yay.
Nice.
So
brilliant.
And there are many ways of doing this. I made them in 2 halves, like this, that are glued together, and that's because I didn't have bigger pieces of wood, because we have burned all the firewood this winter, so I think this is the only piece left, kind of cracked. So that's why I didn't have wood. And all the wood I have is this size. So that's why they are in 2 pieces. Otherwise, you could just drill a hole and make it oval. But my wood I split for being lids and bottoms for shrink boxes like that. So that's what I had.
That makes sense.
So if you want to do if you have a bigger log like this, you could of course take a drill and go and then make the hole bigger.
Now, would you size that based on the widest point of the handle, I assume?
Yeah.
Or you could actually, I think I saw somebody else posted where they had done kind of like a stepped version of it, where they had one that fit the blade that went all the way down, and then they went to a slightly larger, or maybe it was vice versa. I forget which order they did it in, but they did a graduated set of holes so that it would gradually narrow as you went further down into the sheath.
Probably the biggest one first, and then the smaller one.
Yep. Yeah, it's just a question, I guess, of getting it centered. Yeah.
Or getting the right drill bits.
Yep. But I think it's fine with the 2 pieces and gluing it together. I think that works well.
And also, because my pieces are so thin, I have to plane them with planes.
Okay.
To get flat, because otherwise you could split it in half, and then you just glue it together, and they have the perfect match because they are split.
Yeah.
If you want to split, you can take the piece a little longer. So because when you put your axe or whatever you want to split them with, it gets a little distorted just at the beginning, and then you could saw that off.
Yeah, brilliant.
But doing it in split wood like this, I really recommend, because the first one I did, I had this kind of this is the one I had. That's the only 4 ones I have. But that's birch, but it's from some limber. What do you call them? Lumber? Where you buy wood?
Yeah, lumber.
And
lumber. Yeah.
It's extremely hard to carve, and the fibers goes in awkward ways. So I thought, no, there is no way we're going to make a sheet in 3 hours by doing that. And I called Glentham back and I said, oh, I can't do this sheet in 3 hours. But then I tried with my split wood here, and that was so much easier. So I really recommend splitting some wood and drying it.
It's because the wood was still a little bit green, you think? Or...
No, it's just because it follows the fibers. The split follows.
Okay.
And also, this has not been drying for ages on a shelf. It's maybe 1 year or so, or until it's dry enough.
Okay.
Yeah. So I split them, and I put little glue and little paper on them, and then because that's what I do when I take down a tree, or there's a part of a tree. You can't do all the spoons from the whole tree, because eventually the tree will go bad, and you can't just sit making spoons like a crazy. So you have to dry some of it, and then I split it in pieces and put paper on, and then so I use the whole tree.
Great. Yeah, birch especially sitting on the ground goes bad so fast. So but a good thing about birch is if it's winter, you can take down a log in the autumn, and then you can have it all winter. Yeah, because it sits there, because the birch bark is waterproof, so it doesn't dry. So I keep them in long logs longer than that, and then they don't dry. So I can use fresh birch all winter, which is nice. Brilliant. So one thing about Anja that I've been admiring Anja's work for many years, this is my first opportunity to meet and talk to Anja. But one of the things that I really love about her work is her playful use of color. Her use of color is so joyful and so vibrant. And so, yeah, so if you could just show us sort of how you go about doing your paints before we dive into the actual making of the sheath. I think folks might be really interested to see that as well.
Yes, I will ask my little photograph assistant here. So just giving you a tour of my dog. My living room, skateboard.
Excellent. Don't trip.
Where is Linnea? Oh, she's gone. Linnea! Oh. Give me a tour again. Linnea? Kan du visa? Oh, she's about to come. So, but I can talk about it at first. Okay. So if I do small objects, then I use artist paints, because what artist paints are, they are pigments. So this is the cobalt blue. So they are made out of pigments and linseed oil. And what's good about them already being made like this mixed is that they mix it with a heavy machine, like I can't explain in English, sorry, so that the oil comes in with the pigments. So all the pigments are covered with the very little amount of oil, which makes it very easy to paint with. If I'm supposed to mix the pigments and oil myself, I have to use a mortise and I have to work hard to do that. Okay. Artists and woodworkers in old days, they used to have an assistant doing the paints for them, like riving it with a flat stone on a piece of stone to flat stone and a piece of stone and go, yeah, and here's my assistant filming it.
So basically grinding it to get it down very fine.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the artist paints this is linseed oil. And it's a new brand in Sweden. It's very nice and very clear. They cleaned it. The way Don makes it, but they do it in factories. You don't have to do it yourself anymore, which is very nice.
Wow.
And so it's that and that.
Very nice.
If I do small things, like this is one for species, coriander.
Yeah.
Then I use these artist paints. And I use very little oil, so I can show it somehow. What should I do? We have something to paint here.
Your paints make.
Oh, that's not wood. I should take this one. This little bow, maybe.
Okay.
It's going to be red. So you use only very little. That's too much for that small thing. But
wow.
And a little bit of oil.
So you take the already mix and you blend it with some more oil to thin it down?
Yes, but not too much. I want it to be as thick as possible, but I have to be able to like paint it out on the wood.
Spread it evenly.
Yeah, because if you put too much oil in it, it becomes transparent or clear. Okay. Yeah, not well.
Which could be interesting if you wanted to just kind of highlight the grain underneath.
Yeah, but for me that's too much 1980s, and we had a craft in school, and we were not allowed to use real paints and we had this called lasur in Swedish. It's some pigments in some alcohol, I guess, and you put it on the wood and you see all the grains.
Oh, okay.
I'm from that year that I don't like it.
So it was more like it was more like a dye, like an alcohol
yeah,
dye.
it's like it's a dye. So, and with linseed oil paint, you're supposed to paint it as thin as possible. So that's the
Very
way.
nice.
Very easy.
Yep.
Du kan visa golvet. Entire house is painted with linseed paint. This is the floor.
Oh, wow.
And doors and everything. Yeah, it's a very good paint because you have to work it out, so you use very little paint for a large area.
Brilliant.
But for a floor, of course, you can buy it in cans.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you. I love your choices of colors.
So the second. Oh, I'm following me now. Oh, the other way of painting that I do with bigger things is the egg oil paint, which, for example, that one. Egg oil paint.
Oh, wow.
It's a duller surface, but you can make it shine by rubbing it, which I haven't done with this. Rubbing it with a cloth.
Okay.
The shaving horse sleeping here in pieces. Which is also made with egg oil paint.
Now, what is egg oil paint? You take an egg white and mix it with the linseed oil and the pigment?
I will show you now.
Brilliant.
So my assistant here. Oh, it's not key. I'll take an egg.
Yep.
It's from mother. Oh, she doesn't lay egg, but her chickens do. Like that. And I mix it.
Oh, so it's yolk and whites, everything all mixed together.
I think artists take yolk away or something. I'm not so fussy. And then you take the same amount of oil. Water. A little at a time, like making a mayo. One more.
So it's 1 part egg, 1 part linseed oil, 1 part water.
Yes. And this is like a traditional Swedish paint that they're used for interior painting, not for outdoor, because the egg will grow fungi on it. So it's for interiors. And we painted, but it's not, it's the upstairs. All the rooms are painted, the walls are painted with tempura. Let's see if that is painted with tempura. The little table there.
Okay.
And that also. Oh well. On that big yellow thing. That is tempura.
Oh, wow.
But okay. So we'll show on some piece of wood. Oh, here. So Kaylyn, you have to give me what color should I use for this one? Here is one that's ready. But
I love that blue. That bright blue.
Bright blue. Not that one. Get these from the store. They have candy in them, and then you ask for empty boxes.
Now, where do you get your pigment from? Is it just an artist, a store, an art supply store?
I don't think you have to buy them on internet from the factory that makes paints.
Oh, okay.
And there are some good ones.
Is it the same type of pigment, like dried pigment that you would use for making milk paint?
Probably, because we don't have milk paints here, so I haven't used that.
So you don't know? Okay.
I like the way milk paint looks, but we don't have it.
Interesting.
But it's pigment. This is cobalt, so that's cobalt.
Gotcha. Yep.
It's
standard.
getting more expensive now because you need it for battery. This
Okay.
I don't use this for spoons, for example, because cobalt is a little poisonous.
Ah.
I don't use, you know, when you buy, for example, the old ones, cadmium yellow, that is cadmium, but they are now called new, which means it's not cadmium anymore. So, and if it's poisonous, it has a dead fish on it. I think it's only the white one that has a dead fish on it now. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
So don't use that on spoons that you put in your mouth.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never paint the part that's in your mouth.
Yep. Can I ask everybody to please make sure you're muted? We're getting a lot of background noise coming through. Unless, is that at your place, Anja?
Huh?
That's not, that is the noise of all the children, is that at your place or is that somewhere else?
It's nice.
Singing nice.
Background music.
Yes. I need some music. This is just boring mixing. So this egg oil tempura thing,
Okay.
it's not supposed to be so thick. This one you put on a little thicker. It's like.
If I get too excited, it'll come right back. Ow, Puppy, what the heck?
But this one you have to put on more than once, because you can see it's quite thin.
Yeah, it's like a wash. Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't really like so much. Well, yeah, I don't have to paint that. You got the idea. Yeah.
Thank you.
took the baby. I took the baby. I took the baby. Oh. I took the baby. Baby. I took the baby.
Sounds like you have a very lively crew there with you.
But it's not me.
This is the part where
Chuck, can you just mute that person?
I'm trying to figure out where it is.
It was coming from Ed's phone. It's on mute now.
Oh, okay. Great. Okay, go ahead, Anja.
Okay, well, That's the painting.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You have to ask questions if you want. Questions about paint.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. So do you want to go ahead and show us?
There is one more trick that I like to show. That is the paint.
Okay.
The pigment that's called umbra. Umbra means shadow.
Okay.
So after you paint something, it's very bright, but then I often give it a wash with umbra that I mix with a little oil. Let's see if I can show. Yeah, it's like on a fish. Then the umbra, the shadow, gets into the carved one, the piece down, like the eye here, and also here at the fins.
Gotcha.
It's got a shadow everywhere, and that's a big trick, a good trick, because it makes it look much better.
Yeah, it makes those lines pop more.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So.
Excellent. So yeah, so like I said, go follow Anja to see. I mean, she does just wonderful things with all sorts of bright colors. It's so fun and playful and cheery. Like her, look at all that. It's so cool. I especially love how you do the gradations. It's really neat.
Oh, these are bright. Did I get this? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, really nice. Love that.
They're supposed to have wings. So the wings comes 4 wings. What do I call it in English? Trollsland.
Like a whirligig, like a, what do they call those? The little helicopter things that you palm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They fly. Yeah.
I know in
Dragonfly.
Dragonfly, yeah. Dragonfly. A dragonfly.
Very cool.
So, shall we start?
Yes, let's do our knife sheath.
So this is the one we're gonna make. So, this is the Mora, the short bladed one. I always mix the numbers up, so this is the short one. And it goes down. Click.
Very nice.
Ooh.
Yep, much nicer than the plastic.
Oh, yeah. Although I really like the knife.
Yep.
And they are made in the town next to my hometown. So
brilliant.
That's the only knife I use. I have a lot of Moras.
Yeah.
So they're good. Click. So what we need is split wood. I showed here how I had split wood and dried it. It's birch this time.
Okay.
And you want to have it split because then the fibers gets straight and it's easy to work with. So here's a split piece of wood here, and then I plane it with a plane. You can imagine this getting plain. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look how plain. So, and from there, I make a template. I lost it. Oh, there it is. I make this straight. Try to saw this nice and straight.
Okay.
And put the Mora in. And because this is going to click in position, it has to be smaller. So you have to go past, it's widest here. So it has to go past there. So when the, oh, no battery?
Yeah. 10%.
So what you were saying is it's got to be just very slightly narrower than the than the full width of the handle.
I think so. I'm not professional in this. That's what I kind of thought it would have to be. It worked anyway. So you have so many good woodworkers there, so there's probably a lot of ways of doing this. So I'm just showing the way I made mine.
That's okay. You're the person who's been making them, and they're working. So we'll follow your example.
Yeah. Okay. So, but when you're doing this challenge, if you want to do it, if you have a bigger piece of wood, of course you can drill through it. Did everyone hear that when we were talking before?
Yeah. So. Okay. Yeah, you could just drill the hole out in a solid piece instead of splitting it and carving the interior part and rejoining, and gluing the two halves back together. You could just keep it all one solid piece and purely drill the interior space for the blade and for the handle.
So anyway, I put this one on and I draw a center line. See, I have a center line here, which is supposed to be here, up here too. Oops. And down there. So that's what I start with. So, and then I take that one down here.
Okay.
That, and I could take that one down here if I wanted to. That's for when gluing them together. I want them to be.
Make sure they're aligned.
Yes, aligned. So, and then from there you choose the
design.
What it's going to look like on the outside. As I said, it's a little bit sharp here. You could kind of remove the edge there, I guess. But this is the one that's on the template that the right up and up. Test
hey.
Like that. And then I measured my knife. Where did my knife go? Oh, how thick it is. So here, where it's as thickest.
Okay.
Yeah. Now in centimeters, it's 24.
Okay.
And you have to measure your knife because they can differ. Old ones are thinner.
Yeah.
So this is like an older one. There is now only one factory making the blades because one has burned down. So you can see the older one is narrower.
Gotcha.
So this is, what did I say, 24?
24.
Half is 12. So half of it. Go down here. Actually, that's wrong. Sorry, folks. It's 12 here where it's as thickest, but I'm going to make it click, so I have to make it thinner. So I have to measure it up here.
Gotcha.
And here it's 11. So changed.
So 5.5 on each side.
Yes, measure your, and then I just try to make that shape here. Like that. So it looks kind of like that.
Okay. Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, always good. So I also draw this line here where the blade comes.
Okay.
Because right here, because blade is not so thick, but here it's get thicker. So I have that one. It's in Swedish 7mm going down.
Gotcha.
There. So I have a workbench, which is nice. if you don't have a workbench, I guess a bowl mate or something could work as well. And you could do this with a knife. I happen to have a chisel like this. They're always very awkward to hold on to because vi tar från andra hållet än det. Du kan flytta den till andra sidan.
So are you doing out at the edges first?
Yeah. This is for the knife blade.
Okay. So that was a V tool that you used to do the outline at the edge. I'm assuming you kept the one side vertical.
Only because I had a V tool. You can do it with a knife too.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, I take whatever I have, and then I happen to have this, which came in handy. That's it's 8.
Yep.
Which works well. I wonder if it's possible to use one of these spoon knives if you don't have one. Try that.
Yeah, probably.
So I don't know. I'm gonna cut myself now.
Yeah, don't do that. We don't want you bleeding.
Oh well, it works.
Yeah, it works.
You'll figure it out with the tools you have. I have this, so I use this.
Yeah.
Now I must not go further down than that line, because then it's not going to click so well. It has to be kind of tight. Well, this is maybe not so interesting to watch. Doing all that, and then I had this little line here. I go down.
So is that where the top of the ferrule?
Yeah, the metal part.
Yep.
Goes here. So I'm gonna see my back now.
I can move.
You're doing a great job, camera person.
Thank you very much.
So it was supposed to be 7 millimeters. 7. So I'm not down yet. Yeah, 7. So I guess I don't have to finish this. I do like in the cooking shows.
Yep. Just pop it in the oven.
Ta-da! Yeah. And take it out.
Excellent.
And then here it's, I had it 11 millimeter here.
Yep.
But then it's going to be a little deeper down there. It has to be, to make it click nice, it's a bit deeper here than here. So it kind of bends.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it needs to go slightly deeper before you get right out to the top.
Yeah.
So that it tapers up. Got it.
Yes. And then this is the one I just made. No, that one. I can't see the difference. Here is one. I think that's one for the long one. Comparisons don't hurt. So I do it until I see that it kind of fits. And then I found this old carbon paper. I don't know what's in English.
Carbon, yeah.
Days,
Yep.
which comes in handy because the last part is hard to know. Oh, where does it not fit? And I kind of grab it like this, and like the dentists do, and go, oh.
I was just going to say, it's the exact same thing when they ask you to bite down on the paper.
Yep. there, and I take it down here and here. Yeah. So, and I do the same procedure on the other piece.
Yep. So you just repeat the whole process again on the other half.
And then I make sure they fit together.
Looks like a French hot dog.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's a little gap in between here, but I think it would fit yesterday. And then you can do this little, it's also on the template. It's a little line that you could cut with this one or with your knife. And someone told me that is, if you get like shavings stuck in here, then you can't get them out, but you can blow. Oops. Well, it doesn't come out anyway. Well, the intention is it's supposed to blow. You can also drill that afterwards, but it's kind of nice because if you have that, you can also align them very nice. I have the drawing there, but I also have the cut there. So
yeah,
go like that. Oh, is it? Yeah. So here are two. If you want to make sure that they fit, no,
It's okay.
So, forget what I said. Okay, so what I do then is I use my axe and I cut the outline on one of them.
the axe is the Sloyd bandsaw.
Yeah. I think that's good enough. I could also kind of make them into the size you want now or later, it doesn't matter. But I like to do at least one with an axe, because then you know how big it is here and how close it is here. Because when you do them together, you can't see how big it is.
Yeah, you can no longer see.
Might be a little close to the edge here. You could make it longer or bigger. I don't know. Maybe the design should maybe be a little thicker. I don't know. It works. So after that, I don't know if that's necessary, but I have, this is what we call the devil's tool in Swedish.
We call it the devil's toilet paper.
Yeah. So you didn't see that. I don't think that's necessary, but I clean them a little bit and get them a little.
Yeah, just to make sure you get nice flat surfaces to glue together.
Yes, and it's easier when they're all cut like this, because then there's only this thin surface, so it's just
right.
One, and that's it. When the devil tool goes. Yeah. I'm so embarrassed now that I show you something.
It's all right. We'll keep your secret safe. Kevin, we'll just have to edit that part out.
Yes. Absolutely. This is glue. With glue. So if this had been traditional, I guess I would have used like the fish or skin glue. But I mean, we live
That's right.
in modern times too. And this is what I have in hand.
No problem.
The good thing is this is for outdoors, so it can take.
Yep.
So I put glue on. I probably forgot something.
It's all right.
I don't want to put too much on or too little either. I don't know. I tend to put on both because it soaks down in so fast in the wood. Better too much. Too little. So this you don't have to do if you make it when you drill the hole instead of doing this part. So, and then you wrap your finger here. Yeah, and then try to fit it here, up here. Let me use one of these quick clamps. It kind of glides around. I don't like gluing things. Makes you stressed. Here, these lines.
Yep.
Oh. Okay, there we go. And this one has slided. Maybe in the middle. Yeah, there you go. So it's in position now. It's in position here.
Yep.
And it's in position there almost, so to the left. So then I use the real ones. Oh, because these don't clamp good enough, I think.
So you bring out the big guns to apply more force.
Yeah, yeah. Make sure they don't slide away.
Yep.
I can remove these. You can see when clamping with these, the limb comes goosing out here, which is good.
Yep.
So, and then I take my finger because there's also glue here.
Yep. And just try to wipe it out.
Yeah. And put it under my so. Yeah.
Excellent.
So I bake it and I take it out of the oven. Duh!
Wow.
It dried.
Amazing.
Yeah, and now I can axe the other part. I guess you could axe both parts, but I kind of like when it's.
That tip of axing the first part while you can see it is so smart.
Yeah, that really is brilliant.
Godt være, jeg kom en time for sent ind.
No.
Er vi en time for skud for England? Eller hvad?
So
That's smooth.
the outside is axed. I still have that center line here,
Yep.
which is good. Then I can align the template almost again. Oh, this is a short one. Oh, that's a long one.
Nice.
Probably gonna crack it.
So now, do you apply that same shape to the sides that you've already shaved down? Like, do you turn it 90 degrees and now apply the same shape? If you rotate that on on the surface that's facing me,
Yeah.
that one, do you overlay that same template on this side?
No, it's thinner on this side, so it doesn't fit.
Okay,
So I do that kind of freehand.
all right.
I guess you could do a template for that too, but they are that one that I made. It's 4 millimeters, which is in English, I don't know. That's how
That's
thick
okay.
it is. See, my
Okay.
first one, they're quite thick, which I think is a bit clumsy. Or
Okay,
maybe only me thinks that, but so I try to make this as thin as possible. I thought it would be easier for it to flex too, but I don't know what size. I guess
yeah, I imagine the
this
thinner
one
is
is much
probably,
thicker, but it flexes too. I'll try with the knife. Yeah, it sits. Okay, so if it's thicker, it sits better. Then you have to stretch. Okay,
Whoa.
that looks dangerous.
the other way you could do is you could make small things like that so you can get a grip of your knife,
Yeah,
which is nice.
be very careful walking around.
Nice enough.
I'm just
Okay.
picturing you ramming
That
that into
was
your
thick.
thigh.
So that one was thick, and this one is thinner, so
Yeah.
it flexes.
Yeah, I think thinner is probably smarter.
Yeah, unless I'll show you. The Sami knives, they always look like that, so you can get a good grip when we're taking out, so they
Yeah.
don't have cylinder thing.
Interesting.
So that's it's
Yep.
easy.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Where were we? Yes, the thickness of it, like 4 millimeters there and there.
So you'll focus first on the, for lack of better terminology, the top and the bottom to get those the right thickness and width. Then you'll do the other sides to get them the right thickness and width.
I guess.
And then you'll shave the corners to make it hexagonal.
Yes,
Got it.
that's right. But did I have one that was almost done? No. Yeah, well, you understand this. So from there, I could use the shaving horse. I have one.
Actually, it would be awkward.
Axe or knife. Here it's, I guess, for clamping. When it becomes thin, it's, I don't know. I have an extra handle here. So I won't crack this, but I don't think
yeah.
But it'll be extra safe. Oh, wow. And it's not so dangerous to have the knife playing.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. You could, I guess, you could do one this side first and this later. Now I'm kind of doing.
Yeah, I'd probably do the top as you're holding it, and then the bottom, and then I do the other faces.
Yes.
But that's just me speculating. That's not from me having any experience doing this. So.
That's a good one. No, we'll do this part first. But the thing, if you thin this down first, it will be less wood. Well, okay.
You do you.
Yeah. No, you can do whatever. That first or this first. Now we chose to do this first. What makes it thicker this way?
Is that a Magnus draw knife?
Yes.
That looks familiar.
Oh, I'll show you this one. Look.
Ah,
It's a baby one. It's not from Magnus, but I like it.
Nice.
It's good for spoons. I use baby tools. Actually, it kind of gets hard doing this. Oh. So I have to go down a little more there, but now it's got hard because it's end grain. So
Yeah.
I think I'll do this anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. That way you're not going across such a wide surface.
Yes. So I can put that template on front. Okay. I forgot how I did it last time. Well, I only did once. Did it once. So for how long are these show and tell things? How many hours do I have?
For you mean the demo
Yeah.
you're doing? Until it's your call. When you think you've shown us everything that you want to show us, we can be done. The time that people have until we're doing the show and tell is roughly 3 weeks, right, from yesterday. So that'll be when we do the show and tell. The show and tells themselves will be people presenting their finished versions of it and talking about their experience doing it. Those show and tell sessions usually last about 2 hours lately, depending again on how many people, participate.
Yeah. So then I use the temper again.
So now you're shaving all of the sides down. If you wanted to leave that belt loop connector on there, you'd obviously have to draw that on and be careful about not removing that wood if you wanted to leave wood to
That's
have the belt loop.
my wood is too thin,
Yeah.
so I glued it on.
Oh, I got you. You did it separate and then just glued it on.
I did
Okay.
it separate and I glued it on, and I put wooden pegs to keep it in position.
Yep.
I should have.
Nice.
I should put the right one. You can see I drilled in an angle.
Yeah.
And glued it. So I don't know. They did that in the old days too, but they had another type of glue.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
not
not
like
so untraditional, I guess.
yeah. You're not trying to support.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say you're not trying to support a huge amount of weight, so it
Yeah. Also,
Great.
I suppose you could wrap this around the hanger around or something.
Yeah.
Before coming up. Well, I let all the participants experiment with that and how to do a smarter way. I did that this one evening and I didn't come up with a smarter way. Actually, I showed Chuck because I did it with birch root because I like birch root the way it works. And I put that birch root here, and birch root is not flexible at all, so I had to remove it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to put leather, but you could put string or leather or just something that is a little bit flexible if you want something.
Yeah. How did you did you glue the leather on? Is that?
It's
got a seam somewhere, I assume.
No, it's glued together here.
Okay.
I was thinking about, I don't know, putting something on, but it kind of sits there.
Yeah, it looks nice. I think it's nice.
Because
it's nice.
I carved down. There is a little.
Yeah, you mortised it out for the thickness of the leather.
Yes. So that's why it keeps there.
Yep. Very nice.
Yeah. So I don't know how much more to show on this.
Yeah, so at this point, you're basically just going to take off the corner. Like once you've got the four sides kind of roughly shaped, you're just going to, draw your guidelines on and take the corners off.
Yeah, that's the way. Like that, and here I have to improvise like this.
Yep.
Something like that. And just take the corners off.
Yep.
And you can't.
So then
you can't try your knife in here because it doesn't flex.
Right.
Then,
so that's what I was going to say is what's the step there for slotting, with drilling and slotting?
So from there, what vill jag som vi ska göra? Where did I put the one that we're supposed to go there? So on this one, I wasn't sure if I wanted some design here in front, so I put the holes on the corners.
Gotcha.
Because all the ones I've seen are done like in the middle. And I don't know any of your people who has done this, how many you need, if you need 4 or if you need only 2.
I kind of like the idea of the 4, and I like that you put it on the corners because I think you want to avoid the face where you put it together because you don't want to run the risk of it splitting right down the seam where you glued it.
I put it on the corners just because I wanted this one here.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah. So I haven't seen that.
So now did you just, it's literally just drilling where you want to put them and then doing a saw to slot it.
I put this piece of extra good birch, my special piece of birch. And just to have something under when you drill, because otherwise you will split it.
That's a good tip. Yep.
once I was also thinking if I should drill before I glue them together, just to make sure I could make it nice and smooth from the inside, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's another option. Although I would
Yeah.
think if you do that, when you then go to clamp it, you might have introduced too much flex where you're trying to clamp them together,
Yeah.
depending on where the split is. I have to think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like that idea of inserting, having something to insert in there to give you a backer to drill into.
Yeah, and then I just measure where to drill, and I don't use the hand drill. I use this because it stands here and it works.
Ah, power! Oh no!
Oh, wait, no, edit that out.
You have to drill it with beaver teeth. Come on. Not authentic otherwise.
I must find something old-fashioned. Here we go.
There you go. That's fine. Use the power drill. I'm just teasing you.
Me too. I hate these.
Yeah.
They always wiggle around.
Wobbles everywhere. I agree.
If it's a thin drill, it breaks.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I like power drills. But this isn't finished, so I'm not going to do the hole. But
Yeah, that's okay.
We're going to go here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just use like a pull saw to saw the slot.
Yeah. I'm very bad at sewing. Actually, one of the reasons I paint is my things get very crooked because I'm not so good at doing things very straight and exact. So this is the first one I did. This is the second one I did. This is how much of an expert I am. I've only done 2. So I sawed down, it got crooked. So that's why it's so big. So then on this one, I actually took this one and made like a little here.
Oh, okay. Just to act as a guide.
To act as a guide, and also to make it the corners kind of nice because then
it chamfers the corners. That's nice.
So I did that. And after I did that, it was really easy to sew down. It was almost like it cracked itself. Also because it was the same. And I did it on one side at a time like this.
Gotcha.
Very, very thin saw.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Awesome.
Well, after that, you have to fit your knife. And if you are lucky, it fits. I think it fits. And if you're not lucky, actually, I chamfered this also here.
Okay. Yep.
Smooth, and this part here.
Yep. Some nice little finishing chamfer cuts.
Yeah, and then it fits because these open quite easy. So I think it fits, even though it's not so perfect. But I tried to make it as perfect as possible.
Yep.
You could also, if it doesn't fit at all, and if it's impossible to get it down because if it breaks, you could always
shave down the handle.
Yeah, I always carve on them because they get more comfortable.
Yeah, I agree.
But for this challenge thing that I did, I tried to use
just basic Mora.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
This is it.
That looks fantastic, Anja. Thank you so much for coming on and walking us through this. Does anybody have any questions for Anja on anything we've discussed? We went through her paint tutorial, which was a bonus add-on. Thank you so much for that, as well as the knife sheath making. Any questions?
For carving patterns and things, I use a small sheet carving knife like this.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, these are nice sheets. These are the old Mora ones.
Yeah, leather. Yep.
They're not leather. They are this pressed paper.
Oh wow.
but they work. They're good.
Pressed paper. Wow.
Yeah.
Like cardboard.
We call it, yeah, cardboard.
Okay.
They're called unica in Swedish. It was popular long time ago. They make suitcases and everything. Food
Oh,
boxes,
wow.
lots of things out of it. It's
Yeah.
compressed cardboard, heated.
It's like, I think we would call that like something for that size or whatever. It'd be almost more like a masonite.
Yeah, but it's not. It's still flexible.
Interesting.
My understanding is that the pressed paper ones were traditional, and that's what the plastic is meant to emulate, with the pattern on it and this general size and shape.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Very cool.
This has like a pattern.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to look like that.
Yeah. Yep. Nice. Any questions for Anja before we stop recording? Go ahead, Kaylyn.
Yeah, Anja, thank you so much. This is a really exciting challenge, and I've enjoyed seeing your creativity on Instagram. Your knife sheaths are beautiful. My question is, I started to carve one, and I've got a knife sheath here. I don't have a Mora, but I've got my own knife. But now that I have the sheath here, if I'm thinking about doing relief carving and doing some flowers, how do you make sure that you don't punch through into the void that you've already carved? Are you using a depth gauge when you're doing your relief cuts, or are you just using really fine chip carving and then using the paint to like amplify the pattern that you're creating?
Yeah, they are. I think your sheet looks quite thick.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's thick enough.
Cool.
And my carvings are not that deep, I guess. Let's see. So for example, oops, sorry. If I do this, I don't carve down very, very deep. Oh,
okay, cool.
It's not so deep. It's just like in Swedish, it's a millimeter maybe. And then for example, for this one, whoops, this actually comes through because I wanted the knife to show through here.
Yeah, so it's like a pierced relief carving.
Yes. So I think you're fine doing chip carving and things.
Perfect. Thank you.
It looked deep and thick enough.
Perfect.
For doing that. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. More questions?
Any other question? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question. Anybody? Going once. Going twice.
Can you hear me?
Ah, yes. Go ahead, Mauro.
First of all, thank you so much for share with us your knowledge. It's not exactly a question, just to share if it can be a good idea. The belt loop with the leather, it could be good to use holes into the wood sheet like in the leather one. Then putting the leather into the holes to firm the strap.
Is that leather?
Yeah. This is on a leather.
Yes.
I think could be a good idea also into a wood sheet, and the leather could be an additional grip.
I guess you have to do something. Well, on this, I did it on this one. See, I have some light here. Oops. No, wrong way. Here.
Okay.
I had to make small metal things here and nail them with small nails to make that type, because this one has a hat gliding.
Yeah.
So if you want to add some leather, I guess.
Do you think this style should work also on a wood sheet?
That one is, and this I had to think of this idea here. I have leather wrapped around it, and then this hanger. Can you see how it's made here?
Yeah.
So it's I didn't stitch it very nicely, but here it's stitched, and then these two parts goes in there, so it sits very stable here. So I have to think of some way of hanging.
Yeah.
Because leather is flexible and wood is not, so I have to think of some idea. And this one I was thinking, sorry, I was thinking maybe doing a hanger like that and hang it so I
like
longer.
that too. Yeah.
I think that I'll see.
I think you're pretty much only limited by your imagination in terms of coming up with different techniques to hang these.
Yeah. You have to think of different, because the leather way doesn't really work on wood, I guess. And I thought, oops, sorry, for my camera person just disappeared. I thought of this kind of, oops, disturb, extra secure by putting it in like that. But I'm not sure if that works.
Nice.
Oh, well.
Thank you.
And then are you imagining that hangs from a hook on the wall?
On the belt.
Yeah, how does it attach? How are you imagining it attached to a belt? Does the belt just go through the?
Through here, I guess. Oh, maybe I should have made it longer. So I double, I don't know. How do they usually attach to my? Well, it's just like the loops. I was looking at the Sami ones, the old knives in Sweden. They are just, they have.
I mean, you can also do a variation on that where you use like a toggle, right?
Ah,
so that that this loops through around the belt, right? And then the toggle goes into the loop, and then just the pressure, locks it on and prevents the toggle prevents it from coming loose.
You are free to make some better solutions than I have, because I haven't been looking into it so much. I got kind of disturbed by doing hot dogs and things like that.
I tend not to wear a knife on a belt, so it's, for me, they're more just a sheath to protect the edge and protect myself.
I never wear them either, because they sit. Actually, my knife sits like this.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. There's another one.
Which is great when you're in the shop.
Yeah, because then I'll just pick one.
Yeah, it's just a quick grab. Yep.
Yeah. And then
I love all your little decorative things though that you come up with for all of this, and like, painting your
So this is the oldest knife I have, and that's the sheath. Actually, I made new because that was lost. Sorry for the darkness, but the camera person is gone.
That's all right.
It has the old blade. I just sharpened it. But this is, when I was a kid, my parents used to buy like carved things out in the villages, and there were still these old guys doing it. They're all gone, and they are very. They were, well, what I remember is that they were very short, but their hands were huge. So that's why this handle is kind of big.
Yeah. Wow.
That's what I think. It's very simple, but you can see it's been used a lot.
Yeah.
But they don't have to be so fancy to.
That's correct.
Usable. I made a lot of different for the hook knives here. I don't know, but this is it.
Yeah, I mean, we can get very caught up in tools and
Yeah,
you
we'll
know,
stop.
fancy stuff. And I've seen videos of like wood carvers in Thailand whose tool set is basically, you know, gouges made out of sharpened nails, you know, and they make these incredible carvings. So it's, you know, we can drive ourselves nuts, you know, getting caught up in the tool mania and madness, but.
I think I think the camera is gone now, or?
Yeah, I think you shut your camera off.
Can you see anything? No.
It just says Anja's iPhone.
Oops.
So I think you accidentally shut your camera off. There's a setting on,
now?
It's still off. There's a setting on your, probably on the phone itself where you can stop video or start video.
It says your video is stopped, but I don't know where to put to start it again.
If you just tap where it says that, maybe it'll, I'm not sure how it works on the phone. I'd have to.
Oh, well, I guess I showed everything anyway. If people are, well,
Right.
happy.
I think so. All right. If there's no more questions, then I think I'm going to stop recording at this point, and I think we're good to go. Thank you again, Anja, and pass our thanks on to your daughter for acting as your very capable camera person. It worked out very nicely. So enjoy making your knife sheaths, everyone.
Yeah, I'm all excited to see all the knife sheets. It's gonna be fun.